Now, I think it's pretty safe to say that when we have Jon and Dave leading Lucasfilm for the most part now, a lot of fans can really gain all of their trust and really kind of just put all of their hands into Jon and Dave and really kind of just hope for the best. Because things are beginning to look up with Mando Season 3 and 4, Ahsoka, and a lot more on the horizon, which, by the way, will be announced at Celebration and D23 this year. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future Star Wars updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. Now that brings us to what Jon and Dave are up to with the character of Grogu, and what they recently had to tease about the character and his future. Now we know one thing about Grogu is that this character is gonna have a big revelation in Mando Season 4, as Jon Favreau had teased, that is going to leave a very big footprint, a very big impact, so to speak, throughout all of the Skywalker saga movies, and how that's really going to lend itself to really being marked down as a bigger moment than I am your father. And it's not just about Grogu's true identity or his real name, which they tease, and we're going to be covering that in a second, but Jon and Dave also have bigger plans at large, where Grogu's revelations are going to have a very big meaning across all the Skywalker saga trilogies. Now that brings us to exactly what Jon and Dave had to say about the future of the character Grogu, where it's heading, and exactly what they have planned for the future of the Mandoverse and more. So with that being said, what's really exciting about all of this is that one thing that we do know is that Kathleen Kennedy does not approve of what Jon and Dave are aiming for with the upcoming Star Wars lore and the upcoming revelations. Now, with Disney and Lucasfilm getting ready to create big revelations for Star Wars, especially in the 4th season of Mando by Jon and Dave, they are also working on many twists and turns to deliver to fans with the Ahsoka Tano series. However, in a recent interview, both Favreau and Filoni just teased Grogu's real name in the upcoming season of Mando, and for Season 4 as well. Favreau went on to state the following first. It's been a discussion that we have been having for several months now, and an idea that we had for years to hide Grogu's real name and save the best for last. We always had this sort of plan to use Grogu as this cover name, and that there is more to his story. As far as his real name goes, we are looking into George's original drafts of The Empire Strikes Back to provide a real name for Grogu, and how we are going to use that in spirit to honor Yoda and to provide fans a true identity for Grogu to present himself to the audience. So let me just stop right here for 1 second. So basically, what they are about to do is that they're going to use the original drafts of The Empire Strikes Back, and they're looking into the original ideas of Yoda to use as Grogu's real name. Now, we already talked about this with the leaked storyboards, and it matches directly up with what Jon Favreau recently had to tease here. And we're going to cover that in 1 second. Now, the thing about Grogu is that Mando Season 3, it's not going to hold those big-time revelations, but what it is going to do, it's going to set up those revelations that will be explored in Mando Season 4, so keep your eyes open for that as well. There's a lot of things coming out of the Mandoverse and everything related to the Star Wars franchise, and how they can really kind of take a lot of key elements from George Lucas's original ideas for the originals. Now, given that Grogu is going to be a character that's going to have a lot of secrets and revelations across many different Star Wars shows, not just The Mandalorian, it's basically a character that holds ongoing surprises, and I think that's going to really kind of keep the fans engaged and very interested about what's coming for the future. Now, moving past all of this is where things begin to get even more involved, where Jon Favreau teases more things about Grogu's real name, his true identity, etc. And I think it really kind of just sets everything up for what fans are expecting in Mando Season 4. Given that 4, by the way, it's going to have longer episodes, it's going to have more episodes, and a higher budget. That's one thing to look forward to as well, is that season in particular, it's going to be the most creative and the most dedicated season of all for Mando. Now, moving on, he goes on to say, all I can really say right now is that his first or last name, I won't say which, is going to start with the letter M or will contain the letter M. That's all I will really say right now and leave things at that. Additionally, separate from what Favreau stated, this all alludes to the storyboard leaks in which Grogu's true name is Yoral Minch, an homage to Lucas's original name for Yoda, which was going to be Minch Yoda. Yoral is aimed to be Grogu's first name, while Minch will be the last name, and that they are setting things up that many of Yoda's species' names start with a Y as a theme to create something original. Now, the thing about Grogu's real name being Yoral Minch, I will admit, it kind of goes, especially when you put all of the characters together, Yoda, Yaddle, Yoral, it just rolls off your tongue. I like that, how Jon Favreau is aiming to make every single character in Yoda's species starting with a Y. It's very interesting, I kind of like that. It's kind of like very unique and different than the other species out there. Now, the other thing that I do want to point out here that's absolutely important is that we already know that Jon Favreau teased for Mando Season 3 that Grogu's going to be learning new Force powers that we have not seen yet in the current canon, and that's another thing to kind of be a little bit alert about and to actually keep an eye open for. It's going to be a big surprise, it's going to be a big deal. We know that Grogu has some kind of ability, basically that the remnants of the Empire are looking for and that they want. There's more to it than just getting his DNA or his blood. There's something in Grogu that they need. And we're going to be learning more about the remnants of the Empire in Season 3, why they want Grogu, and all that fun stuff. So, this is a very interesting path that Jon and Dave are taking. There's no doubt about that, given that they are taking Grogu in a different direction than what fans would have never expected, and how they are basing his name off of Minch Yoda from the original drafts of The Empire Strikes Back, where Yoda was not really just Yoda, he had an actual full first and last name. And they're doing the same exact thing with Grogu. Now, we already talked about one of the storyboards that it actually turns out that Grogu is the name of Yoral's planet, and basically the home world of Yoda's species, and that the reason why the Jedi calls him Grogu is that when they tapped into his mind, the only thing that they could find is his home world in his mind and what it was called. And that was it. So they named him Grogu after his home world based on some of the storyboard leaks that we went over for Mando Season 4 and all the like. So overall, guys, I'm very much intrigued to hear what you guys have to say about all of this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.